Good morning, and we are in um, Genesis 24 through 33. And as you can see from the picture, this is going to be about Jacob and Esau. And the theme, of course, is let God prevail. We've heard this, I talked about it yesterday. This is definitely relevant to today. This is what President Nelson really talked about, being part of Israel, letting God prevail. So the questions we have here is, how do you secure for yourself a blessing from God? You might say that the account of Jacob, grandson of Abraham and Sarah, is a story of a man who learned the answer to that question. In a culture where the firstborn son received a birthright blessing, Jacob was born second, grasping the heel of his twin brother Esau. The name Jacob means supplanter, one who replaces someone else. Jacob lived up to the name by trying more than once to supplant Esau as inheritor of the birthright blessing, because Esau was unworthy of it. And we'll get into that in the scriptures. The result was discord in the family, and Jacob had to flee for his life in the wilderness. Now, I want to point out something I keep saying, but I want to make it very clear. This is what Genesis is about. It is about Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph. That is where Genesis comes from. It's not as much about Adam and Noah. Those stories are there. This is about Israel. How did Israel come about? And here we're having an idea. How do we obtain blessings from God? Years later, God commanded Jacob to return home. On the way, Jacob, in humility, again sought a blessing from God. I think that journey back is something that also means a lot, because here he is going to meet his brother that he's not seen for a long time, and must have been a lot more introspection than before. And so he gets to this point where he is talking with God. He wants to be close to God. He knows it's important. The scriptures describe this time as a wrestle for Jacob, and he declared that he would not give up except thou bless me. Then came the lesson and the blessing. God changed Jacob's name to Israel, meaning, among other things, let God prevail. Israel learned that to receive God's most valuable blessings, his covenant blessings, it's not necessary to supplant someone else. His blessings aren't purchased or seized or won. He gives them freely to all who live up to the name of Israel, who let God prevail in their lives. It does no good to try to figure out a different way to get those blessings either. I hear so many people, well, if God is this, if God is that, only to be a way to excuse what they're doing. when we really should be doing is, what do you want from me, God? What do you see for me? God is going to give you nothing but good, but that doesn't mean that life is going to be really easy either. I think that's what we can learn from this. Now, this week we're going to have a lot of reading, because if you notice, I do read all of the scriptures. I'm not here just commenting on them. I'm reading the scriptures, and I hope you can get something from each time I read them. And there is a lot to read every day. It's going to be hard to get through it all. But I just wanted to start there. And so now for our ideas of learning. A few things to think about this week. Covenant marriage is essential to God's eternal plan. A good question to ask is, why is marriage important to God? And when we go through this, I want that in our minds. When we're talking about Rebecca, then I can value eternal things over temporal things. And this is talking again about Jacob and Esau and what it was. And we'll talk about the questions there. Finally, or not finally, the covenants of the Lord's house brings God's power into my life. And we're going to talk about Esau's dream. Not Esau's dream. Jacob's dream, and how it relates to us. I think that will be really interesting. And the Lord remembers me in my trials. Finally, the Savior can heal my family. And I think that's a really good one for us today, especially because we really can use that in our lives to heal our families. And what it means, and in our lives, no matter how old this story is, it is so relevant to us today. I'm going to finish it there, but be ready for longer and more in-depth discussion of the scriptures the rest of this week. And we'll see you tomorrow.